Welcome to Crimson Guitars. As you know, every now and then we get the odd interesting repair in, or a restoration of sorts, and people phone us up and say, hey, I've got this guitar and it's not quite working properly. Now, when it is a guitar from 1958 that has been in storage in a loft in America for the last 20 odd years, you kind of expect a few issues. And this is fun. This is an eBay find. All of you poor fools that were hung over on New Year's Day and weren't looking at eBay missed out on a bargain. So I'm going to get the camera actually and show you this case, because the case is as wonderful as the guitar. And here we go. I wouldn't mind... Oh, my leads got caught. I wouldn't mind making guitar cases like this. Now what we have today is a 1958, that goes all the way, there we go, 1958 Danelectro, well, they called it the Guitarlin, and it's also colloquially known as the Longhorn. Now the problem is, sounds good, look at that fantastic, or fantastically low-tech bridge. It's actually just floating on the screws. Look at that. So 3 screws holding it down, and the string tension is pulling it up. The original lipstick pickups. This is from the first year that they actually made these, and it's got 32 frets. Hence the Guitarlin. It's supposed to sound like a mandolin. Some crazy glitter headstock stuff. Not sure if that's original. Now the issue is that this beastie does not play in tune. The nut is fantastically high, so we're going to have to sort that out. I do love this design. If you look at that, there's a wedge. The neck itself is wider than the body, which actually makes quite a comfortable instrument. And we all know the old Danelectro crazy construction. But anyway, if you're interested in beautiful old guitars, there we have it. On to the repair. But just for starters, let's have a look. That is massively high. There we go, millimeters. 2 millimeters high. The action is 2 millimeters high on the bass string at the first fret there. It's terrible. So, detune gently. And here you can see what the issue is. This has been in a loft for 20 odd years, and the frets are as tarnished as they're really tarnished. So I'm going to have to mask this fretboard off, which is going to be fun because I've never seen frets so tiny, except on a mandolin. Anyhow, to work. First of all, I'm going to just have a quick look. This is the new Crimson Guitars, well, it's a prototype at least, for our new fret rocker. I'm just going to go down the neck and check, see if there's any obvious issues. I, for some reason, don't think there will be. We've got the side binding, it's not binding, side tape. And now to mask off the fretboard. Up at this end, if I was leveling these frets, which I don't have to, there's some notching, but it's not bad, I would also tape off the nut several times, just to remind me that I was coming onto the nut, so I didn't knock it off with my fret leveling file. In this case, though, I'm not doing that. Use your thumbnail to get it flush with the fret, and then a scalpel blade in at 45 degrees, basically cutting along the fret and underneath it. because the last thing you want to do is score a line into the fretboard. This is what we're trying to avoid more than anything else. Thumbnail, scalpel, bing, sorted. To start off with, I'm just using one of our fine fret rubbers just to see what surface we get. And while it's a little pitted, it's not quite bad enough for a fret level yet. Again, if I was doing a level and crown job, I would get some of the thin masking tape and run it alongside each fret as well, like that, just to double up the protection. But using this, there's no need. Can you see how shiny that is now? And it really doesn't take that much work. The actual job doesn't take that long. It's the preparation that is time consuming. But preparation is key. Next up, Autosol metal polish on a nicely folded bit of tissue. And these frets are so close together. Rub it on 3 or 4 frets. And then go back and just polish. Now, I have done this in the past using Dremels and little buffing wheels, and as I get older, the more jobs that I can do without making a load of noise and having to wear goggles to protect my eyeballs, the better, frankly. This doesn't take that much more effort, and we end up with some incredibly shiny frets. And basically, the shinier the frets, the more, well, the smoother the instrument is going to feel, and the better the playability is going to be, without a shadow of a doubt. So now to take the masking off. So at this point, you pick up the side bit of tape, and if you're using the right tape, it pulls it up, but this plastic stuff actually tends to cut the smaller stuff. But anyway, if you're lucky and careful, it helps with the removal process. Back on with the strings. You can't adjust a nut slotting height really without the strings in. Although, as I say this, I realise that this is total bull. My first task, this is a little pencil, this is a large pencil that I've chopped in half so you can see the lead, and I've sharpened it to a point so the lead is at a point. You hold the pencil down flat on the frets, and you're drawing a line now underneath your fret slots that is at the same height as the fret, i.e. that is the point at which below which you do not want to cut with your nut slotting tool. I've been assured that this is going to pop out on me and give me no end of trouble. So let's see. I'm doing my best to keep this under as much tension as possible. So, string underneath, still under tension, it's not popped off. So I'm going to get her strung up, and then I'm going to take each string out individually to adjust the nut slot heights. Okay, we are roughly at tension, and you can see. Now the issue is that you can tune it here, but as soon as you fret, it's out of tune. It's too sharp, because you're effectively screwing with the whole scale length of the instrument. You want the fret to be as low as possible, or the string to be as low as possible above the first fret, in order to play properly. Now, this would be okay for a slide guitar, and I think that is... Well, this is from the factory. This guitar is 1958, so it's 50 plus years old, 54, 55 years old, and has never been set up properly. The poor, poor baby. Anyhow, roughly to tension, despite the fact there's no truss rod here, so it makes little difference. Take the string out, and we're going to adjust it. This is the new Crimson Guitars nut slotting multi-tool, which is good for cutting through brass and aluminium and all sorts of stuff. Now this nut is, I think, aluminium. And I've got a long way to go. Now my pencil line is giving me something to aim for as well, which is good. And I'm going to do this for all 6 strings. Now, you are asking, I'm sure, why I'm not taking the nut off and filing down the bottom, because that is the logical way to do this, and I will show you exactly why. Come here, Mr. Camera. This beautiful, beautiful instrument has a screw holding the nut in place, and I don't want to change it if I don't have to. Right down to the last string. This is the new nut slotting file, which has got lots, I think it's 14 or 15 different gauges. We want a 46. So go to crimsonguitars.com and buy it. Well, can you see the difference between that and this? And these are actually still a fairly high action. I'm going to go back late in a minute once we've seen how it plays, and probably even lower those down a little bit more. Anyhow, put the string out the way. Now we make these here, we cut the teeth ourselves, harden the blades, so they're good to work with aluminium and brass and all that. Let's have a look. Now, this is a perfect illustration of how out of tune this was. So it was almost a whole semitone, or even more than a semitone, out of tune. You would have... So that we've taken that nut right down and tuned her as well. I am really rather liking this instrument. I'm going to see if we can get her owner to give us a jingle, see what she sounds like. Oh, and don't forget, check out the Crimson Guitars, luthiers, tools and all that jazz. The new nut slotting multi-tool is pretty awesome, if I do say so myself. These have got interesting dual gang stuff.
Yeah, it's that way to turn them on.
Crikey. Let's see where the amp is at.
Yeah, because all the controls sort of interfere with each other a bit, so it's not an exact science.
This is not an exact science, but let's see what she plays like. Whoever uses that many frets,
Yeah.
I don't know. Awesome guitar, man.
Right, I'm internet famous.